Hello. Hey, if you want to call up anybody that repairs cameras, they'll all tell you something very ironic and very funny. They will all say the same shit, I guarantee you, regardless of who you call, that repairs cameras. The cameras that they see that are the most damaged on the inside are the weatherproof cameras, or the weather-resistant cameras. Now, we're not talking about submersible cameras, or like I had an Iconos. You know, I used to scuba dive. Cave diving is where I took mine all the time. I used to cave dive my brains out. An underwater scooter, oxygen decompression tanks, twin steel 90s, double redundancy buoyancy control devices, insanely expensive underwater lighting housings with power cables leading up to my hand with an enormous halogen lamp mounted on my hand for underwater cave diving. Oh shit! The most dangerous sports activity on earth. I used to skydive all the time too, and holy shit. You think skydiving's dangerous? Skydiving isn't jack shit when it comes to cave diving. I did so many cave dives too. And stupidly, when you're young, like I was never stupid even when I was young, I would do it solo. You know, I'd tell people where I was, but in other words, if I got into a bind, I was fucked. Because, you know, you might only be 120 feet underwater, but you're like thousands of feet in. So you can't surface, you know? You can't surface. And anyway, this is about weatherproofing cameras. And if you ask anybody that repairs cameras, they'll tell you the same thing. There's no such thing as weather-resistant cameras. If you believe there's such a thing, then you're smoking crack and you're a dumbass. Oh, don't say stuff like that. Tip number one, and let's talk about weatherproofing and weather resistance, okay? We're not talking about waterproof cameras, okay? Let's not talk about the duh obvious of cameras that are meant to be taken underwater, okay? We ain't talking about that. We're talking about regular cameras. Number one, outside in very humid conditions, or especially in cold conditions, like right now, when you're done shooting, out there shooting the yellow-breasted, speckle-faced woodpecker, you know, with your 300 millimeter lens, and you're going to Trotsky your way back home. Dismount your lens and stick your damn camera in a large freezer bag like this, okay? Yeah. Preferably in the car while you're thinking about it, because once you pull in your driveway, you're not going to think about it. You're going to like, fuck it. You're just going to drag your stuff inside, and that'll be the end of it. What do you use this for? What you do this for is to let your camera climatize to the warm temperatures, okay? Do this going in, do this going out. You know when you buy new fish, I used to have this person that sold exotic fish and just fish in general. He's like, you know, you keep them in this bag with the water in it, and then you stick the bag in the tank. You don't just like dump the damn fish in there because the fish goes, ha! And it gets, the fish gets shocked, and sometimes they go, they die. Because of the temperature change. Your camera is like a fish that you buy at the exotic the exotic pet store, is that you have to climatize your camera like a fish. Then you go in and go out in highly inclement weather, okay? Because what happens is there's, but let me repeat this. There's no such bullshit as a weather-resistant or weatherproof camera. Weather resistant, I don't care how many gaskets that effing camera has on it. It doesn't mean shit. Okay? Can I make myself really, really clear in saying that? It doesn't mean anything. I don't care if your camera got 50. This, by the way, an Nikon D3 is the toughest effing digital camera ever made by anybody ever. I would still recommend it for this camera. I know there are videos of this camera being lit on fire by a Frenchman and he freezes it in a block of ice. I've seen that video. It is very cute and amusing, but what it doesn't tell you is like 4 months down the road that the condensation, if you've ever opened up the inside of a camera, you'll just be amazed at all the circuitry. And just a little bit of condensation spreading. Yeah. You know, I can't stand it that like iPads show a phone number ringing. You know, that always pisses me off. My phone should ring, not my iPad. Doesn't matter on the D3. Let me get back to my train of thought here. The corrosion that develops inside. If you think that there's such thing as a weather-resistant or a weather-sealed lens or camera, you are sick and delusional. It's not true. Call up anybody on Earth. KEH Cameras, Peach Photo, Peach Photo, who actually also repairs cameras. They're down in southern Georgia. Call anybody up that repairs cameras. They will tell you that the cameras that come in with the most corrosion are weather-resistant cameras and lenses. It doesn't exist. So you need to treat your camera body, also your lens preferably. A lot of time a big old lens obviously isn't going to go in a Ziploc bag, right? They do make special military bags for that. But you want them to acclimatize to the weather. By the way, weather is a huge word meaning many things, okay? Weather can mean, like a little bit of spritz of rain. It can mean like insane temperatures. And when you actually change temperatures, what happens is that the temperature disparity between your camera and the new ambient conditions you bring your camera in will cause it to, regardless of all those rubber seals and gasket, will cause it to suck in condensation to form on the circuit boards inside the camera. And that is why you ziplock your camera. You let it climatize like a tropical fish. You know, when you bring it home, you just don't dump the fish in your tank. You stick it with its water in the tank, and that way the waters equalize in temperature, and then the fish is okay. And then you can dump them in the tank. And that's what you stick your camera in a Ziploc bag for. Isn't that a perfect analogy? Isn't it? Isn't it? Also, you need to differentiate between the fact that all weather-resistant cameras are only speaking in terms of invasive weather. Okay, it means you go outside, it starts to rain, you're like, oh damn, and you like take a few more pictures, and then you like wipe your camera off and you get back to your car. That is what they call weather resistance, okay? That is short-term invasive weather. No camera that is marked weather resistant is protected against long-term pervasive. Like, oh, I got a weather resistant camera like the Nikon D3 here. The toughest effing camera, digital camera ever made. Well, I got a D3 here, you know, I don't care if it's pouring down rain, I'm going to keep shooting. And then you find out, oh damn, my camera's like locked up 3 months. People will go home and they're like, you know, I was just out in a rainstorm, I was shooting my camera, it's still working. I'm like, you know what, you're right. Give me a call in about 2 or 3 weeks, maybe a month or two, and let me know if it's still working, because that's when the corrosion starts creeping and growing on it, kind of like your fingernails. They don't grow overnight. Once the corrosion starts, it grows and grows, and then your camera goes, ugh! That's exactly what happens too. It grows like your fingernails on these. I was just out in the rainstorm last week. My camera's still working, mate. It's weather resistant. Yeah. You don't know what weather resistance is. You don't know. Your camera, you see that gigantic hole in the front there? That's where you mount your lens. Humidity can get sucked in there like a black hole too. You bring your camera out from the cold into the warm of your house. The moisture goes inside that camera, and then the corrosion starts. Your camera will still be working a month, maybe 2 months later. The corrosion's growing and growing and growing, and then your camera goes, ugh! It dies. So take it from somebody that fixes cameras, and if you don't believe me, you can call any damn person on earth you want that fixes cameras, and they'll say, that fat, bald, tattooed guy is 100% right. You should listen to what he said. So go ask somebody. If you don't trust me, I don't give a damn. I'm 100% right, irrefutably, undeniably. Irrefutable. And don't forget the Ziploc trick, okay? Thank you for watching. If you like this video, you drop me a buck or two. Tell me to jump off a cliff. Tell me to go have intercourse with farm animals or whatever. You know, whatever sort of weird. I get all sorts of weird things people say to me. It's like, I hate you. You're awful. I'll get freaky comments from people like, oh, you're awful. You're such a, you know, like, damn, you know, people love to take their anger out on other people on YouTube. They'll say the most awful things, and I'll just look at it and go, yeah, whatever, whatever, whatever. You know, life's too short for that stuff, huh? Huh? Happy holidays. Bye.